Hello, everyone. Welcome to National Internship. Welcome back. Great to see so many of you have joined in for this webinar today by Severn Trent about the wonderful world of water and utilities apprenticeships. Hi to everyone in chat as well. I've seen a couple of people already say hi. Hi to Kazim, Shannon, Charlotte, Hannah, Ria as well. I'm Jake. I'm going to be your host for today. That basically means I'm going to be checking the chat for questions and making sure the tech works. I'm also joined here by Alicia from Severn Trent. Hi, Alicia.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Awesome. Yeah, great to see you. What I'm going to say, in fact, before I let you run wild, Alicia, I'll switch over to your slide first. But in the chat, it's great to see so many of you saying hello. Pop your questions in there as well. We'll have loads of time for questions throughout the webinar. If you do pop them in, I'll try and mark as many as I can as questions to really help Alicia out as well. I don't know how you've set this up, Alicia, but we might have time for questions in the middle or wait till the end. But like I said, I'll try my best to mark everyone's questions as I can. But Alicia, over to you, and hello and welcome.
Wonderful, thank you. So yeah, welcome everyone. So as you'll all be aware, it is National Intern Week. So I'm here today from Severn Trent Water to give you a bit of an insight into the kind of internship opportunities we offer. And we've also got a couple of guests who are going to talk about their internship experience with us at Severn Trent. So I'll kick off with a bit of an insight into kind of who we are as a company, the kind of opportunities we have on offer, and then we'll get into kind of what it's like to be an intern at Severn Trent. If you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. If it's relevant, I can stop and answer them as we go along. If not, we'll definitely have time at the end to kind of go through any questions that you might have. So please just pop them into the chat. Fabulous. So as mentioned before, my name's Alicia Fleming. I'm the New Talent Programme Lead at Severn Trent Water. So I look after kind of our graduate and internship programs. And yeah, let's step into it. So who are we as a business? So we're a regulated water and waste business. So as a collective, we provide water to over 4.6 million households across the West Midlands and also into Wales. So that's households and businesses that we kind of provide our services to. We also take waste away. So we work with your wastewater and we recycle that back into the environment. So anything that constitutes kind of you turning on the tap to you flushing the toilet, that is all within our remit at Severn Trent Water. So we supply over 2 billion litres of drinking water each day, which is a massive amount. And we take away over 3.2 billion litres of wastewater every day. So as you can imagine, a lot of work and a lot of people are needed to make that a reality. We're located in the catchment area of two of Britain's largest rivers. So that might give you a bit of an insight into our name. So we are located between the River Severn and the River Trent. And it's from these rivers that we get our name. We have around 6,000 employees across a number of roles in our business, and it's continuing to grow. So I think we're actually close to 7,000 now. And that includes roles across kind of operations and maintenance, water quality in the environment, technology, engineering, and other professional services. So things like human resources, any other business services that you can think of, finance, that kind of thing. We've got roles in those areas. So there's a lot of stuff that we do. We also have an offshoot of our business. So it's our business services area. And that constitutes things like our bioresources area, green power. So we work with kind of food waste to generate that into renewable energy. And we have our operating services in the UK. So they work with other parties such as the Ministry of Defence, things like that, to supply them with water. So lots and lots of activity that goes on kind of outside of the water and waste treatment. That is our kind of central function. And in terms of what we do then, so I've got a little bit of a slide here. Apologies, it's probably quite hard to read because that writing is very small. But it's essentially going through our business in a bit of a flow diagram. So we take our water from the environment, that water's collected, and we clean it at our treatment works. That requires kind of a lot of chemicals, a lot of energy, and operation and maintenance of the process. That water is then distributed through our networks, and that's how it gets to you guys as customers. And that goes into supply. Once you've kind of used your water, it gets recycled, so it goes down your toilets, down your sinks, and that's when we collect it back again and take it to our waste treatment facilities. That wastewater is then cleaned, it goes through a treatment process to make it sanitary, and then we recycle it back into the environment. So whether that's kind of rivers, seas, not really seas for our company because we are landlocked, so it's mainly the rivers that we recycle our water back into. And all throughout that process, we're investing in kind of renewable energy to make this sustainable. So whether that's using kind of food digestion, and you might have heard of anaerobic digestion plants, that's the process that we go through to generate renewable energy from our food waste and our wastewater. We also have investments in kind of solar and wind power, and as I mentioned, anaerobic digestion plants from our wastewater. So using all of that energy from the process and making it renewable so that we are sustainable and taking care of our environment whilst we do what we do as a company. So in terms of kind of the functions of the business, so mentioned this briefly, but we have a number of different directorates across our business, and we offer placements across a range of these different directorates. So we have things such as capital, delivery and commercial. So a lot of our engineering based roles fit into that directorate. Chief engineer, so that's looking at things like innovation, artificial intelligence, that kind of role. Communications in the community, so that would encompass kind of our roles where we're interacting directly with customers. We have customer operations, probably our largest directorate, so that's where all of our operational roles come into play. So thinking about kind of our water treatment and our waste treatment sites, and all of the functions that are supporting around that. We have technology and finance, so really big areas and key areas for us as a business too. General counsel, so that's kind of our legal aspect of the business, and making sure that we are acting with the right interests at heart. And strategy and regulation, so how we work for the long term, and what are our plans to kind of keep providing our services as a business, and keep things ticking over in a sustainable way. So as I mentioned, taking care of the environment is a massive part of what we do here at Severn Trent. So the environment is our supply chain, and we constantly interact with it and depend on the health of it to ensure that we can deliver our water and wastewater services correctly. And we have loads of projects that work towards this goal as a company. So some of the stuff that we are doing is improving our biodiversity. So loads of projects ongoing to ensure that we're improving 5,000 hectares of land by 2027. We've got huge plans in terms of our carbon emissions and reducing those. So we've got an aim to have an 100% electric vehicle fleet by 2030, and hoping to be net carbon zero by 2030 as well. So we already produce a massive amount of our own energy through our anaerobic digestion, but we want to go even further than that to make sure we're sustainable. I've just seen a question from Hannah. Would I get to work on net zero projects as an intern? I'll come on to the kind of internships we offer shortly, but potentially, yes, we do have opportunities in those teams for people to work on kind of our carbon projects in our group transformation project management area. So absolutely, there's opportunities to work on this kind of stuff as part of our internships. Moving on to the social side of things then. So again, we are a company that really cares about our community and our colleagues. And that comes firsthand in the things that we do here at Severn Trent. So we've got a massive focus on diversity and inclusion, which we have taken on the label of Wonderfully You. So we want everybody to be themselves and their best selves at work. So loads of projects ongoing with that. We also offer opportunities for our colleagues to volunteer and get involved with the community. So as you'll see there, we've got some people in their high-vis jackets doing a bit of gardening at one of our visitor experience sites. So really helping improve things like the biodiversity and the cleanliness at our visitor experience sites, to make sure that we're really helping out our communities. And we engage with our communities all of the time. So we've got lots of things in place to make sure that our customers are able to kind of afford their bills, especially in kind of the cost of living crisis we have today, and providing a lot of support to kind of charities and the like to make sure that we're acting with our customers' interests at heart. So yeah, a lot of things ongoing with our communities, and really great to see. And it kind of links in with our societal strategy that we'll be launching soon, and which you'll probably hear more about if you do join us here at Severn Trent. And it all is kind of underpinned by our company values. So our core purpose is to take care of one of life's essentials, which is water. And all of our values, which each of our colleagues live and breathe by, come under this kind of bracket and help us to really live out our purpose. So our core values are having courage, so giving our employees kind of the chance to shine, to express their opinions no matter what level they are, taking pride, so everybody at Severn Trent comes to work wanting to do their best job, taking pride in the company that they work for and what they do. Embracing curiosity, so we encourage people to kind of challenge our thoughts and perceptions. We don't want to do things the way we've always done them. That's why we love internships and getting fresh new talent into the business, because you really help us embrace that curiosity and drive forward as a business. And showing care, so we just kind of demonstrated that through all of our kind of social projects and the things that we work on, but that's fundamental to what we do at the business. So we care for our colleagues and we care for our customers. I've seen another question from Charlotte say, is the volunteering during work hours or is it out of work? So it's during work hours. So each of our employees get 2 days a year where they're able to volunteer. So one of the things that we've run is our Community Champions Days. So that would be a day where you go out, it's organised by Severn Trent, and you're able to kind of go out into the community and work on those projects as part of your day job. And you have 2 opportunities in the year to do that. So it's a really great activity and a really good benefit of the company. So that's a bit about us. I'm going to move on to kind of the bit that you're probably all interested in is, now you know who we are, how can you join and what do we offer for you to get involved in? So we offer lots of different opportunities here at Severn Trent, and specifically for our internships, I've put some of those up on this slide. So we have our project management internships. So these span across the green recovery area or the group transformation area. So they're 2 different kind of project management areas that we have in the business. Slightly different skills sets in terms of the project management roles in each of those areas, but both developing kind of core project management skills. And you could be working on numerous different projects within those functions. So, for example, the green recovery, you might be looking at working on our carbon net zero projects, our bathing rivers projects, things like that. Group transformation, you might be looking at kind of process improvement projects, continuous improvement projects throughout different functions of the business. So loads and loads of opportunities to get involved in a wide range of things in that internship. We also have our business analyst internship. So that's to do with kind of looking at our business data and using that to help provide insights and drive improvements across the business. We have our ranger role in our visitor experience teams. So I can see, Javier, you've asked what that role involves. So if you go to our company website, you'll be able to read a bit more about the job description, but that would be working directly on our visitor site. So you might be kind of working out across the sites to kind of improve what we have on the site. So how our what kind of experience our visitors have when they come to site. So whether that's looking at kind of the facilities on the site, looking at kind of the cleanliness and the biodiversity in kind of the rivers and the reservoirs if you're working somewhere like that. Loads and loads of different things. If you want some more information specifically on that role, then we can definitely provide that to you. So just let us know. Happy to email some more information over about that one. We have our process engineer internship. So that is kind of a year in industry opportunity. So if you're currently in university, you might be looking at that as an option for you. So process engineering is within our kind of asset planning and treatment function. So you'll be looking at kind of our wastewater and our water treatment processes, learning more about those and how we can kind of tweak and change those to become as efficient as we can, and using that in kind of a sustainable environment as well. So how do we make sure our processes are sustainable, in line with our net zero carbon ambitions, and also, you know, in line with regulatory permits and things like that. And then finally, we have our 10,000 Black Interns programme. So this is run by an external charity, but we advertise opportunities for this through Severn Trent as well. So we will be pledging to take interns onto that programme. Those are 8 to 12 week summer placements. But again, really great internship opportunity, and you could be working across kind of any area of the business for that. And we'll look at specifically people's interests and try and place them in areas where they'd like to gain some experience on that internship. So I can see a couple of questions have come through. So Livy, I can see you asked, would I be working with other interns like me? If that was to do with the volunteering, then potentially, but not necessarily. Usually people do that within their own kind of site teams. If that was to do with kind of working with other interns at Severn Trent, then yes, we do have kind of internship development days where we get all of our interns to work together. But day to day, you'd be working in kind of your separate team, depending on what role you're doing in the company. Jade, I can see you said, would I get progressed onto the graduate programme after this placement? Great question. So at the moment, you would still have to apply for the graduate programme, but the fact that you've kind of been with us and done an internship and got onto that kind of programme would mean that you were really set up for success to apply for our graduate roles as well. And you'd demonstrate kind of the right behaviours that we'd look for in the graduate programme. So it's not a direct entry, but it's definitely a leg up to being successful in that graduate process. And we're looking at the moment at how we can kind of better talent pool for our graduate programs. So it might be that this changes in the future, but as it stands now, you would be looking to apply for the graduate program, but you'd obviously have all of the support from new talent to do that whilst you're on your internship. Pembora, are these programs also open to postgraduate students? Yes, they are. So you're absolutely able to apply for these as a postgraduate. You don't have to be an undergraduate, especially for our kind of 9-month internships. We have postgraduate students on those programs already, but you're more than welcome to apply if you've got a graduate degree. What I would say is, if you are a graduate, have a think about whether the internship would be right for you, or whether you'd be looking to do one of our graduate programs, which might be more suited to you if you've got that degree. So I mentioned this briefly before, but we don't just offer kind of the day job on our internships. We offer a lot of development opportunities too. So when you join us as an intern at Severn Trent, you'll have access to our academy facility where we offer training and development. You'll join our new talent network. So that is a group of graduates, interns and apprentices. So you're joining a community of like-minded individuals. We have socials, we get together and try and enhance the experience of our new talent individuals on our programs. You'll have access to mentoring, so you'll be able to find a mentor at Severn Trent, and they'll be able to give you kind of advice and support on your development and further career progression. And there's also chances to explore different areas of the business. So I've put DILO opportunities there. Probably doesn't mean much to most people. It stands for Day in the Life of. So there's always opportunities to kind of get out and about and explore the business. So you might choose to take a day to visit one of the site teams and learn what they do in their roles. And that's really encouraged with our new talent programs. So it's just another opportunity for you to kind of explore Severn Trent. I'll skip past this one quickly because I've kind of mentioned it already, but you'll get access to our dedicated learning facility, the Severn Trent Academy, which is located at Hawksley Park in Coventry. They offer loads of different courses that you're able to book onto whilst you're at Severn Trent. And they also offer kind of virtual self-service learning as well. And a lot of that is actually accessible to anyone within our community. So if you're interested, please have a Google search of the Severn Trent Academy. You'll be able to find loads of employability resources on there that will help you kind of with any applications as well for these internships and for your future career. Mentoring as well. So as I mentioned, you'll be able to get access to a mentor, and we have a specific Mentor Me platform at our academy. So you'll be able to do that once you are on our internships to help aid your personal development. Poppy has asked, are there any opportunities to actually work in different roles for a week? Yeah, absolutely. It's happened before. So it would be a conversation between kind of your line manager and who you're working with and who you'd like to work with. But we can definitely make those opportunities a reality. So yeah, it would just be a conversation once you were with us and working in your team. So quickly before I move on to our interns, so you can hear a bit more from them, I'll just have a quick run through of kind of what your first week could look like if you join one of our internships. So we always start with an induction week. This is our induction timetable for induction week, which is starting next week for the interns who joined us at the end of September. So you'll get a chance to really get integrated into your cohort, meet loads of different stakeholders, get to know your teams, and really get embedded within Severn Trent within your first week. And following that, we offer you the chance to grow in these internships. So not only will you be gaining kind of an insight into the real world of work, and real life work experience. You'll also be developing a range of skills across kind of the business, across kind of different functions, and you'll learn more about Severn Trent and the opportunities and roles that we have available to you once you've completed your internship. Ria has asked, what does team building involve? So I don't want to give too much information away, but it would be kind of activities that get you to kind of work together in groups to solve problems and challenges. I'm not going to say specifically the activities because I don't want to ruin it for any future interns and cohorts. We probably will change the activities, but just in case. It's fun, let's put it that way. And we also offer support. So what I've put up here is kind of our new talent charter. So we want to make sure we're being held accountable for providing you with the best experience on your internships. And we also want you to kind of take ownership for that as well. So this is something that we kind of go through in our induction week, and something that we will hold people and hold ourselves to account to make sure everyone's kind of having the best experience that they can at Severn Trent. And one of the things I really like on this one is making sure that everybody is kind of having fun and making friends for life, and that people feel like they're adding value to the wider business and to their teams. And that's really what we want people to gain from it. In terms of support, so we also offer a lot of support in terms of people's well-being. It's been a really difficult couple of years with COVID, and mental health has been a massive thing for not only the younger generation, but for everyone over the past couple of years. And we've got that support in place for our colleagues. So it's another way that we show that we care. But it's just for your awareness that we've got lots of kind of focus on good mental health, happy well-being at work. And that's for whether you're an intern, whether you're a permanent employee. It's open to everyone. So I'm going to move on to our interns. I've just seen a question in the chat box. So that is, how would you describe Severn Trent working environment in 3 words? So I think this is probably a good one, and a nice segue into our interns sharing their experience, and I'm sure that they can provide that for you. So I'm just going to pass it on now. I'm just sending the link over to Jamal, because I don't think he's got it at the moment, but I will pass on to our interns. So we've got Jamal and Imogen, who are going to share a bit of insight about their experience as interns at Severn Trent. Imogen, I'll pass on to you first while we're waiting for Jamal.
Okay. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so hi, my name's Imogen. I'm currently in my final year of university, having taken a year's placement out last year, which is why I came to Severn Trent. And I joined Severn Trent as a green recovery intern, because what first attracted me to it was the green recovery side of things, because I'm very interested in the environment and sustainability, and it sort of worked really well with my geography degree. And so I kind of got to work across all of so green recovery is an umbrella term, and there's 7 different projects within the green recovery that Severn Trent kind of feed into. And I got an amazing opportunity to be able to work across all 7 of them, because I was put in to the communications team. And so my sort of day-to-day role was communicating a lot with all the different project managers that were working across the projects, and really helping them understand what their communications sort of tasks were in terms of like how we communicate with our stakeholders, like our customers, that kind of thing. And obviously that was great for me, because I'd never done anything like that before. And And then as part of the Green Recovery intern program, we get to sort of go on this course as part of the academy, which you guys have already heard about. And that was a training program which sort of helps you with your employability skills, your digital skills. So sort of learning sort of some great stuff on Excel and PowerPoint and stuff like that. And yeah, I got to do, so as Alicia mentioned, we got to do some dilos. And because of my sort of interest in sustainability, I got to do a dilo in the sustainability team, which was great fun. And yeah, I mean, we kind of all came together as a group. So I got to work alongside the other Green Recovery interns in terms of the kind of group work, but I was put in communications team. So I had sort of experienced people around me, lots of different ages, experiences, and they really helped me kind of get to where I needed to be. They're really supportive. And yeah, I had a great experience. And as a result, I am now working within the carbon team alongside my studies, which has been a great experience as well, which I wouldn't have had if I hadn't have done the Green Recovery internship. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I do. I don't know if there's any questions or if anyone wants to ask me anything specific about it. I can't really see. I don't know how to see the questions. If you could just tell me, Alicia, if there's any questions.
We've got a question from Poppy. He's asked, what is the most exciting project you worked on as an intern?
That's a good one. Probably. Well, it's difficult because I sort of came into Green Recovery at the very beginning. So I kind of got to experience them all sort of getting up and running. But I would say probably the best one I've worked on would be the bathing rivers one, just because of the environmental aspects of it. But in terms of kind of the day-to-day communication stuff where there was a bit more sort of going on, I would say one of the projects was something called the lead pipes replacement scheme, which was kind of helping to tackle removing lead pipes from our network. And that involved a lot of customer communications and stakeholder management, which obviously was great for me to kind of build up my skills in that area, which I hadn't done before. So that was a great thing that I could then put on my CV to sort of, say I've done something different. And that was a really valuable skill I got from doing that. So I hope that answers the question.
Amazing. Yeah. I've just seen a question about from Anna about, can you do the Green Recovery internship as a graduate? Yes, you can, is the short answer. So it's open to you whether you're a graduate or an undergraduate. So if you're interested, absolutely, yes, you can apply. We've got a question from Javier, which is, how long have you been at Severn Trent so far? What do you know now that you didn't know before you started, Imogen?
Well, so I started my internship at Severn Trent just over a year ago. So I joined at the beginning of September last year, and I would say I have an absolutely new spin on just industry in general. I think, going on a placement, as having come from university, especially going into a sort of environment, fast-paced environment, sort of in a real industry life setting, was something I've never done before. And I've definitely learned that projects and life within the project management area is intense, and lots of things can go wrong, which you don't ever expect. And part of the fun is actually kind of looking at what's going wrong and like, how can you fix it? And just the kind of stuff that goes into that is really something that's great to be able to just have a look into from an outside perspective and be part of it in sort of really navigating these waters, because Green Recovery is something that's a bit of an industry first in terms of the scale of it. So a lot of this stuff was new. So for me, it was a great opportunity to kind of see how firsthand how something of this large scale can be brought to life and the challenges that it faces. Because from the outside, it can kind of look quite easy. You've got a pot of money and you just have to do X, Y, and Z, and you get to the finish line. But it's definitely a lot more complicated.
Fab. And that takes me on to, we'll just do one last question for you, Imogen, and then we'll pass on to Jamal. But Jade has asked, so what type of challenges do you face at work and how do you overcome them?
So I think the biggest challenge is working with stakeholders who don't necessarily want to take on board what you're saying, or kind of don't want to play ball. And I think for me as an intern, it was quite hard to know my place, in the sense that you come on as an intern, you're like, oh no, I don't, that's above my pay grade. I can't possibly sort of say this or say that. But I think at Severn Trent, you're treated as an equal. You're no less than just because you're an intern. And so it was definitely something I had to adapt to, in terms of, oh my gosh, I have a big responsibility here. And it was quite challenging to kind of navigate when you disagree with your colleagues who, they might be for me, definitely they were, in my head, more experienced. They might know more, but actually they really like it when you challenge them. And I think the challenge for me was getting into that headspace of, just because I'm an intern doesn't mean my sort of opinion isn't valid. And so everyone really appreciated it when, if you did have making a contribution or sort of arguing a different stance actually was really sort of valued. And that was something I had to kind of contend with, because you might not think when you start that you can kind of do that, because of you're coming in as an intern. So yeah.
Amazing, thank you. And yeah, like you said, Imogen, I think it's just testament to kind of the culture that we have at Severn Trent, is that we want people to embrace curiosity and have courage and have those conversations, no matter what level you are or who you are. And actually, everyone's opinion is valuable. So I would say we don't really have a hierarchy at Severn Trent as much as other companies do. It's quite open, and you're able to speak to kind of high-level stakeholders on kind of a friendly basis. So it's a really great place to kind of thrive in that aspect. But yeah, thanks, Imogen. That's really helpful. We'll pass on to Jamal, and then we'll finish off with any other questions that we've got in the chat box as well. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
I'm going to pass on to Jamal then. So welcome, Jamal. Talk us through your time on your internship.
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamal. Nisha mentioned. I'm getting a feedback for some reason. I'm going to just put my volume down. So, in terms of my journey towards where I am currently, I applied through the 10K Black Intern scheme, and to be very honest, it was part of so many applications that I've been doing. And to be fair, I wasn't expecting anything to materialize, because I had gotten to a point where I was just mentally exhausted, which a lot of students, I imagine, go through. And it just materialized into something positive. So I got an offer to intern at Severn Trent, which I was excited to take on immediately. I did my research on the company, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I used to live in Scotland. I moved all the way to Coventry so I can do my internship. And to be honest, the first few weeks were very, very overwhelming, because like Alicia was saying, when it comes to work culture, there's this stigma that you just need to endure and just sort of just work hard, and work is meant to be this place where things might not exactly go right, or it could be not good on your could be a bit depressing, if you get what I'm saying. But I feel like I genuinely enjoyed my experience, not just when it came to the relationship with the other interns, but just the work environment, the comfort I sort of received, the sort of flexibility to ask questions whenever I needed help. Not so much pressure on me. I think that really helped. And basically, I started as a process treatment engineer. So they taught me a lot about process treatment engineering. They took me to a few sites, arranged all my PPE, and then I went into assets management. So it was like a diverse range of knowledge, I would say. And it was very helpful because I knew nothing about process treatment engineering, to be honest. And I had learned a lot. My background was mainly in aerospace engineering, so it was a lot of like mathematics and physics. But when it came to the process treatment engineering, it took me to like the realm of chemistry. So it sort of diversified my knowledge. When it came to the assets bit of things, obviously we did a lot of assets management, risk management, etc. And I would say what stood out the most to me is just the culture itself, because I was looking forward to actually go to work every single day, because I just knew that the environment wouldn't be depressing. You have the flexibility to take as many if you sit down and you're basically tired, you can always take a break. There is no one watching over your shoulders, basically, because there is the trusting type of relationship between you and your manager and your other colleagues. Everyone is trusted to be responsible and do the right thing, and you're not going to be forced to do anything that you're not supposed to do. And I met a lot of great people. Of course, networking, I would say, was the most important thing for me. Like, I networked a lot. I'm usually a very antisocial person. I struggle to put myself out there, but I just had to, because I realized that the more people you speak to, the more, you put yourself out there, the more you're seen. Because there's no point having so much to offer and keeping that to yourself. So just reaching out, asking the right questions, just dedicating yourself towards like achieving your goal, which for me was actually securing a permanent job, because I didn't want to return back to the space of uncertainty I was in before the internship. So I really reached out to managers, tried to network, etc. And it did materialize eventually. It was actually my mentor that helped me get my current role. Well, he just basically asked me to contact a manager that worked in his department, and I did a day in the life of, which is basically going there and seeing what they do and actually working with them for a day. And after that, I basically applied, and luckily I got an interview, and I did succeed in my interview. So right after my internship, I started my role as a um, adoption engineering technician, which is basically dealing with adopting sewers from huge developments and basically going through like pumping stations and all the other technical stuff. It's been a very life-changing last 3-4 months of my life, to be honest. I wouldn't have anticipated it January or even March, but things can change that fast. And if you're lucky enough to find yourself in an environment that empowers you as well, then that's a plus, I guess. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say. If anyone's got any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jamal. We've got a few really good questions in the chat box, so I'll read them out to you and then hopefully you can give us some answers. So, we've got one from Livy about what do your working hours look like?
Well, it's flexible, a little bit flexible, to be honest. Some people did come like from 7 and they left around 3 o'clock. You got to do your regular, I think it's 8 hours a day. For me, it was 9 to 5, because I really struggle with sleep. I have sleep apnea, so the more sleep I get, the better I function, which my manager was comfortable with. So it really depends on what's convenient for you. Obviously, nothing too crazy like coming from 1 p.m. or something, but yeah, it's a bit flexible.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd reiterate that. So, yeah, as long as you're doing kind of your 37 hours a week, or whatever the value is, that's fine. We can have a little bit of flexibility around those hours. So whether it's kind of 8 till 4, 9 till 5, whatever works for yourselves and your team. This is a good one, Jamal. Would you say you have a strong bond with your colleagues?
Of course, yeah, I do. I'm actually going for like a lunch thing after work today, and it's not with my current team members. It's with my previous team members because someone is leaving the team. So I just spent, I think, a couple of months, 3 months there, and they always check on me. Before I left, they actually like got this card where everyone just wrote really nice things, and I also got like a voucher for Amazon. Like it's just very, very warm, to be honest. It feels like not to sound unprofessional, but let's just say a professional friendship group. Like it's very supportive in that manner.
That's really lovely to hear. Yeah, it's a great working environment, and that's just testament to kind of the culture that we have at Severn Trent. Has the company changed since you joined? So I know you've only been here for a few months, Jamal, but from your perspective, has it changed since you've joined, or?
To be fair, I would say when it comes to its values, particularly, it's been very, very constant because I've moved teams to a completely different flow and department. However, although everyone's personality is a tad bit different, I'm still having the same type of experience with my teammates. So when it comes to the values of the company, I feel like the company has been quite consistent. The only changes I would say is probably the adjustments that might follow. For instance, during summer, there was a high demand in like water. So obviously there was a lot of pressure on the company to provide as much people with water as possible. And right now that has gone down, but then you got the pressure from the recession and so change is more on those types of areas because it's at the end of the day it's a water company, so people would always need water and it's very, very stable. However, it doesn't mean that as things around it are changing, it wouldn't change. I have not been here for more than 4 months, but I know changes have happened when it comes to things in the area of inclusion and diversity, for instance, because during some of the seminars we went to in the academy, they did show us a lot of like charts and improvements and things they're working towards. So it's not really, stuck in one place. There's a lot of progress going on within the company.
Yeah, great answer, Joel. That's fab. I've got one more that I think is probably good for you to answer, and then a couple from that I can see that are probably useful for me to answer. So I've got a question from Charlotte for you, which is, what is the most valuable asset you'll take away from Severn Trent?
The most valuable asset, sorry, put down my volume again because of the feedback here. So the most valuable asset I would say is, I'm not sure if there is such a term as a employee worth or something of that nature, but I feel like, just like how it's a good thing to, know your worth and have a specific, amount of self-esteem, I feel like it's very healthy to also expect a certain quality of, culture, environment, treatment, etc. in whatever work environment you find yourself in. I used to have the mentality of as long as I'm paid well, everything is all right. And it shouldn't just be that, to be very honest. I know that in the future, in the far future, because I don't really see myself leaving anytime soon, in the far future, if I get another opportunity elsewhere, I feel like before I look for anything on the financial level, I'm gonna have to read reviews, see how the people who used to work for the company feel, just basically understanding the culture of the company. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be paid well, but you're dreading every single day, the night before you go to work, the Sunday before the Monday, your time at work, you know, that's gonna spill into your personal life. It's gonna affect you mentally as well. So my mental health is very important to me, and I feel like that's something that is present here, and it's something very, very valuable that I feel like I can take anywhere and just create a very peaceful space for myself in my career.
Oh, fab. Yeah, no, that's really great advice. Definitely a really good one. Thanks, Jamal. Cool. So I've seen a couple of other questions that I can quickly answer in the chat box as well. So Hannah has asked, if in an office-based role, can you also work from home sometimes? So for the majority of our internships, they are going to be office-based. We don't usually offer working from home, just because we're now kind of back in the office full-time. And that's where we'd prefer people to be, because I think you get the most out of your internship being within kind of an office environment. That's not to say that we never allow people to work from home, but with our internships, it does tend to be kind of a case-by-case basis, and depends kind of what team you're in, and kind of what stage in the process you're at. So, you know, in your first few months, we would definitely want people to kind of be in the office full time. As you get more into the role, there might be a bit of flexibility added into it, but it would kind of depend on your team and the kind of role that you're in. So I would say potentially, but I don't want to say yes or no, because it'll be dependent on the scenario that you're in. So Ria has asked, what does the application process look like? Is it a CV or is there an assessment centre? So I can quickly run through that application process. So we will be kind of opening vacancies, and applications go live on the 7th of November. You'll need to apply through our company website. So if you go to severntrent.com/careers, you'll be able to look for our graduate and undergraduate opportunities, and that's where you'll find the link to apply for our internships. When you apply, there'll be some kind of initial questions that will assess your eligibility for the programme, and then you'll be taken through to our CapFinity assessment tests. So that will be kind of the numerical test and the situational judgment tests that you might have seen if you've kind of applied to other internships and that kind of thing. There are opportunities to kind of practice those tests beforehand. We also offer kind of a candidate care call. So that's before you kind of go into those tests. We can give you a bit of support and advice on how you can best find success for those. And then if you are successful in those tests, you will go through to an assessment centre. So that will be kind of a online group assessment centre where you'll have an interview portion and a presentation part of the assessment centre. So we'll be kind of looking to assess candidates in those little meetings, but we base that on potential. So we're not looking for you to have all of the answers and all of the experience. What we're looking for is people that kind of align with our behaviours and have the right drive and motivation to join our company. And again, we can help provide support with those assessment centres ahead of time if you are successful at that stage. So that's the process for kind of the majority of our internships and placements. It can differ slightly for certain internships, but that's what we go for the majority of them. Got a question from Charlotte about how does the recession impact Severn Trent? So fantastic question, and I definitely don't have a fantastically detailed answer to that one. So probably one that's worth doing a bit of research around if you're interested. But it'll impact Severn Trent as a business as it would impact a lot of other businesses. So, you know, we've got the rising cost of energy at the moment. That's going to impact us with kind of our office facilities, our assets. So a lot of our water treatment works and waste treatment works are highly reliant on power. So although we generate our own power, we will be reliant on the grid for some of that electricity. So that's going to increase kind of our running costs. So that needs to kind of be factored into our budget. We kind of also have to factor in the people side of things. So obviously cost of living is becoming more expensive. So how do we make sure we can fairly remunerate our employees to make sure that they've got kind of the national living wage and that they can, we're taking care of them. Loads of different impacts. It'll impact kind of our strategic decisions and what we're kind of feasibly able to budget for, and the big projects that we're doing at the moment. Can we afford to keep them going? Is there anything we need to kind of change in our decisions based on the global climate? So loads and loads of different things. So not an easy one to answer, but definitely one that's worth having a look into if that's in your area of interest. And Hannah said, love that answer, Jamal. I think that came through after you talked about kind of what you'd take away from Severn Trent, so the company culture. So Fab, thanks for that answer. I think that was really helpful.
That's right.
Wonderful. So does anybody else have any other questions for either myself, Jamal, or Imogen? If you do, please pop them into the chat box. I think we've got a few minutes before we finalise and close off. If not, more than welcome to answer any questions after this session. If you just want to fire them through to potential@severntrent.co.uk or just directly to myself. So that would be alicia.fleming@severntrent.co.uk. I can pop those in the chat box for you so you've got them to read. But yeah, I think that's us.
Yeah, nice one, Alicia. Yeah, and like I say, we've got 4-5 minutes more. So if there are any more questions, feel free to pop them in chat. I see Hannah's just put one in. Is the interview online or in person?
Yeah, so the assessment centre is online. So initially we did that because of the COVID pandemic, but it's actually worked out really well for us in being able to assess as many candidates as we can. So they're remaining online at the moment. So it's usually via Zoom. So yeah, you'll be able to join from the comfort of your own home, but it will still have kind of the group elements and then the separate kind of presentation and interview sections for yourself where you'll go into kind of a breakout room to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect. So I think the main thing you mentioned earlier, I just wanted to touch on again, 7th of November is when applications go live on your website.
Yes.
So alongside the email you wanted to pop in chat, if you can pop a link to the website as well, that'd be awesome. So date in your diary, 7th of November, if you want to apply.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll pop that into the chat as well. I've just seen one from Poppy. So how many people tend to go to the assessment centre? Great question. So it depends kind of how many applications we get and how many kind of positions we're going out for. So we like to work on kind of a 1-to-3 ratio in terms of success from the assessment centres. So essentially, if we were going out for 4 positions, we would assess 12 people for that position. So 1 in 3 of those would get through our assessment centres. But just for kind of some high level numbers. So for example, for our graduate programmes this year, we had 282 people who passed the numerical and verbal assessments. And then out of those people, 144 were taken through to assessment centre. Only 95 of those actually attended the assessment centre, but out of those 95, we offered 54 people positions. So that's almost half of the people, a little more than half. So it's quite a good chance of success in those assessment centres. And then we had 38 people join us in the end. So it goes down a little bit because we're aware people kind of get other offers and people have other options on the table. But we like to think that we've kind of got a fairly high success rate once you're in those assessment centres.
Awesome. I've seen one more question that will have to be the last question before we wrap up. Ria's asked, how did you decide between candidates if both are equally strong? Or maybe Alicia, you can give us some top tips for assessment centres.
Yeah, so that's a difficult one. So as I mentioned before, we kind of assess based on potential. So we do have kind of a scoring mechanism for our assessments. And the way that it's scored is in such a way that it removes kind of any bias. So usually those scores allow us to kind of choose between candidates, because there will be kind of subtle differences. It would probably just come down to kind of conversations with the candidates and with the assessors that we had. So what feedback they saw in the assessment centre. But tops tips wise, I'd say would be just be yourself in our assessment centres. Like I said, we're assessing for potential and behaviours. So do your research about the company, about our values, and have a think about kind of what those values are, how you can demonstrate them. So what kind of experience have you had in the past that shows you align to our values and our company culture, and utilise that in the assessment centre to show us that you're really kind of fitted to Severn Trent and to the role that you've applied for.
Awesome. Yeah, nice one. Thank you so much for that. And like I say, just from myself and I suppose everyone in chat, thank you to Alicia, Jamal and Imogen for sharing their experiences and some of their work with Severn Trent. That's all we've got time for today. It's just gone 4 o'clock. I know some of us have to get off to do other things as well. So like I said, that's all we've got time for today. So I'll let Alicia pop some of those links in the chat as well. But otherwise, that is all from all of us. So that'll bring this to the close. The chat will still be open for a couple more minutes while you just pick up those links as well. But that's all from us. So thank you very much, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.